Hey everyone. Thanks for hanging around and just realizing that I was trying to get over being sick and now I'm on the mend finally. Now, this picture, before we get started with Mr. Chimera, this picture has a pretty good example of dragon's teeth, okay? So you can see that they have two nice rows. They don't have teeth like ours where each one has its own root and it's stuck into the jaw. They have two bony plates, one on the top and one on the bottom. And then they have little triangular shaped teeth that have little serrations on the chewing surface. Okay, that's what they look like. More like whale's teeth than like our teeth. Because, they're insectivores, and so that's the easiest way for them to chew on the carapace of an insect and kind of shatter it, is to have those nice teeth that they can use quite a bit of bite force with, okay? So that's important because we're going to talk about the fact that Mr. Chimera, yes, Mr. Chimera himself, here he comes, actually bit me, you guys. Literally, Mr. Chimera bit his mom. Yes, he did. Now, the important thing for you to know about that is that it was 100% my fault. It absolutely was. So I will tell you what happened because this is a cautionary tale and I want all of you to remember. Also, I will let you know that Mr. Handsome is now 563 grams. So he's put on 3 grams, which is perfect. We want him just to do little increments now because hi baby, he is getting really close to what his ideal weight's going to be. So that's just perfect. And then all we have to do is make sure if he goes into brumation that he just doesn't lose a bunch. That's all. Anyway, on with our story. And there's his leg that's being difficult, although it's not too bad today, but you can see it swells a little bit more than the other one. Okay, so what happened with Mr. Chimera, who has been so sweet while he's been recovering, and then bit his mother's finger. Okay, so what happened, guys, was I went to get him out of his enclosure, and when I go around to feed all of the dragons, I give them kind of a once-over. I pick them up, I look at them, I check their eyes, I check their vent, check their nails, check their tail, check their bellies, check everything, so that if anybody has anything weird that happened from the time before, then, I can catch it early. Okay, so I happened to notice it was Chimera's turn to eat protein, a protein source, and that happened to be, I had some roaches and I had some superworms that day. But what happened was, when I went to his enclosure, I noticed that he had shed on his eyelid. A little bit on the top, and then on the bottom, and the eyelid on the bottom, the shed was just peeking over and had just started to stick to his eyeball. So that meant we had to get it off of there. But what I didn't do was I didn't give him what he should have had initially, okay? I went over to his enclosure, I got him out, I said, oh my goodness, look at this eye shed. Hang on, let me get it. And it was a protein day. Now, that meant he hadn't had protein for a couple of days, okay? So he was pretty hungry. He'd eaten his greens, but he was ready to have some meat, okay? And I had set it on top of his enclosure because I got him out because I wanted to get that shed off of his eyelid. And this dragon will let you know if he doesn't want you messing with something. Like if I'm messing with his foot and he doesn't like it, like if I say, oh, let me see, let me look around, let me do this, he will kick me. And then if I try to do it, he'll kick me again. And then if I go to touch him on the side or something, he'll hit me with his arm. So he lets me know, hey, don't mess with it, I'm not interested, okay? Now, why that's important? Well, okay, Mara, you're supposed to be on camera, buddy. So the reason that's important is because I took him out, I put the food down, I took him out of his enclosure, I got my very skinny tweezers, I had pretty good hold of him because I really wanted to get that shed off his eyelid and off his eyeball. And the first time I started to come close, he hit me with his hand, and I ignored it. I got close again, he hit me with his hand again. Then I got close, I finally got the shed off, and I said, there, isn't that better? And next thing I know, because I still had a hold of him, he chomped this finger. He did. Now you'll notice there's no mark, right? Because he wasn't really, and this is important, he wasn't trying to hurt me. He absolutely could have hurt me if he wanted to. Their bites can be really nasty, and they draw blood. Like, it's not pretty. See, he knows. He's being proud about it, see? So, what I did is that, and oh, don't worry, I told him no, and I gave him a tap on his nose. He's not soon to forget. But the reality is it was my fault because, number one, I should have fed him first and gotten the shed after. That would have been the smartest thing to do. Now he's waving because he can see Finian up there in his enclosure because I happen to be in my room, so that's why he's waving. So I didn't feed him first. He was hungry, and I interrupted, and he could see the food, so he knew I had food, and I didn't feed him first. That was stupid. Anytime you have to deal with something with the dragon that's probably not going to be comfortable for them or they're likely not to like, it's important that you don't do it on an empty stomach. Wait, give them something to eat, give them a bath, make sure that their needs are met before, come here, silly, come here, before you start messing with them, because they're going to be uncomfortable anyway. You don't want them to be uncomfortable and not having their needs met, okay? Had I fed him first, I'm confident that there would not have been a bite of any kind. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, when he hit me with his arm, the first time when I was getting at his eye and he hit me, I ignored it. Okay, that was him telling me, hey, stop it, I'm not interested in this right now. And instead of obeying what he did, I ignored it and I continued on. And by continuing on, he hit me again. Okay, so I had 2 additional opportunities after not giving him food first, which again was dumb. I should have definitely done that. But then I had 2 more opportunities when he smacked my hand telling me, listen, I'm not interested. And I ignored it because I really wanted to get that shed off his eye because I was worried about it. So again, my fault. When your dragon is so adamant that they hit you with their hand, kick you with their leg, tail whip you, whatever they do to try to tell you, hey, this is not going to go on right now, you need to respect that. If it's something you have to do, like if you have to give them an injection or you have to syringe feed them and you're really struggling, make sure all of their needs are met first and then have someone help you. Hold them in a towel so that they feel like they're contained. Because another thing, these animals are earth walkers, okay? They are the most comfortable when all 4 of their legs are on the ground. When they're not on the ground, if you got them up in the air, you're holding them in your hand or on your arm, and they're not in a position where all 4 of their legs are on the ground, it's very unsettling for them because it makes them feel very uncertain, very unsure. They're not sure what's going on. Makes them very uncomfortable. So after I got it all done, I put my hand over there, which again was my mistake, and he chomped it. And again, not hard enough to break the skin, not hard enough really to leave a mark. He didn't even leave a tooth indent. And we've had dragons. We had one dragon who bit my husband really hard and drew blood. So they can do it. But they don't really want to bite. It's unusual for a dragon to be really aggressive. They can be, and if you've neglected or hurt them in some kind of way, or teased them mercilessly, you might have an aggressive dragon, but it's not in their nature. It's very unusual. And, you know, you've seen him before, so you know that it's not normal for Chimera to bite anybody. I mean, it's just not part of who he is normally, right? See, I mean, you know, I can pet his beard. I can do all of that. And he's fine, okay? But again, it was my fault because I set him up for failure by taking him out when obviously he was uncomfortable in his shed. He hadn't had meat in a couple of days, so he was ready to eat. He was hungry. I ignored all of that, so I set him up for failure. And then he warned me twice when he smacked my hand with his hand, and I still ignored him. So he decided to give me just a little reminder chomp to let me know, hey, I've told you every possible way I know how that I don't want you messing with my eyes right now. So knock it off. And because I didn't pay attention, he gave me a little reminder nibble. And that's really what it was, you guys. He really was not trying to hurt me. He could have. He absolutely could have drawn blood and really hurt me, but that really wasn't his goal. His goal was just, can you please not mess with my eye? Like, I don't like it. It's making me nervous, and I'm really hungry. And please don't. Okay, so I wanted you guys to understand this, and it is a cautionary tale. Why? Because it wasn't his fault. Now, could I have gone and told everybody, oh my God, this is such an aggressive dragon? Yeah, I could have. But it's not true. He's not an aggressive dragon. We had a little misunderstanding on what was going to be happening that day. That was a problem. But that wasn't his fault. I made the decision of when to deal with the eye shed. I made the decision not to leave him alone when he clearly wanted me to. I made the decision to try to get it done before I fed him. You know, it was me not paying attention is what it was. So I don't want anyone to think that if a bearded dragon who is known for being docile